believe it's time for power rankings each.
Yeah. It's always a good time for power rankings on Friday.
That's what we do. It's Feisty Friday.
That's right. From a lot of different perspectives. All right, Johnny. Let's see what you got. What are you bringing to the table for the top 5?
All right, I'm feeling pretty good about this, EJ. It's pretty early, so you can go a lot of different ways to this. All right, we'll go from 5 down to 1. We got the Boston Bruins off to a good start despite no Pasternak, and Marchand was a little bit hobbled to start the year and some injuries. They're still there. Dallas, you can only play the games you can play, EJ.
That's right.
They're 4-0-0, and they've looked pretty darn good doing it. You can't fault them for their late start to the season. They've been just terrific what they've done. Vegas, they've lost 1 game. They didn't have any coaches. They got multiple too many men on the ice penalties. Give them a break on that one because, again, crazy situation they're in, but they have looked dominant when they get going. Montreal, number 2, have not lost. Started the first 6 games of their year on the road and just finding ways to look very deep, a very different looking team so far. And number 1 to me, the Washington Capitals, undefeated 5-0-3, and have done it, as we've talked about, with 4 of their best players not playing half their games. So we knew they had a new coach who was going to light a spark. We knew they had some good depth players. I didn't know anything about their 3rd-string goaler with Lundqvist out and Samsonov out, but he's getting the job done. And other players stepping up and filling the void and keeping things not just afloat, but thriving. And when they introduced the 4 guys that were not there back in the lineup, they look that much better. They're my number 1.
All right, well, Johnny, I'll tell you what. You're close. I mean, you really are. You were right on the cusp. You were right on the cusp of getting it right, but let's get to the accurate power rankings. Jackie was quick to mouth to me off camera as you were talking, where are the Leafs? They have to be in. I mean, you just have to. As much as I'm not crazy about it either, Johnny, you got to put them in. All right, Boston. Remember when we talked about Boston? They can't score. They're 5 on 5. They just like beat the daylights out of everybody over the last couple of weeks. Took 2 from the Flyers, took 2 from the Pittsburgh Penguins, thank you very much. And so they're playing better. They're at 5. Toronto is playing great. I could have had Toronto even higher. Really nice win last night. Matthews, Marner, those guys are looking great. Dallas Stars are 4-0. They have 10 power play goals in 4 games. I mean, they're rolling. I got to have them in. Plus, I like those jerseys they wore last night. And then I come down to this. Same as you, Johnny. I got Capitals and Canadians, but I flipped them because I'm a little smarter. And I like the Montreal Canadiens as a number 1 team. When I watch them play, Johnny, they look like the team that can win the Stanley Cup. They are just really, really strong everywhere. Now, a lot is going to happen between now and July, and there's always injuries, and guys are going to, the things are going to change. But with Price being able to get a little more rest this year, with Jake Allen being there as the number 2, I like the way their lines are slotted right now. They're strong, they're big, they're hard to play against on defense. I really like their team. You make a lot of great points about the Caps, too. And I'm really impressed with what they've done so far this year because I wasn't sure how they were going to get out of the gate. But they look engaged and energized, so they're playing really well as well. But I just take Montreal at 1. So we're pretty close here, actually. And the only thing is I've had the Leafs. You have the Golden Knights. And, that's one of those ones we could go either way.
Yeah, pretty close, EJ. And we're splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
But the Montreal Canadiens did, unfortunately, pile up 2 wins against Edmonton and 3 against Vancouver. And I'm not yet sold. Now, again, you only play who you play. But I'm not sold how good Vancouver is going to end up being, or even Edmonton for that matter. So maybe strength of schedule, which we can't really compare because each division plays only amongst themselves, might have leaned me a little bit more towards Washington. But, yeah, not bad, EJ, not bad, but not quite right either.
You know I'm going to have a follow-up question.
All right,
and I know Johnny well enough to know that he has a reason. So I'm just curious why, Vegas over Toronto. I'm assuming that was the decision, or maybe it was a different team, but why no Toronto?
I think Toronto is surviving right now on an unsustainable power play that is just beyond good, which is amazing to have, but I don't think that is representative of really strong system play or 5-on-5 play. It's great players making great plays. That's going to cool off. They haven't really been that great 5-on-5 just yet, so I think they're getting wins, but they're not really looking that great while doing it. And They lost to Ottawa, Jackie.
They did.
Ottawa.
I remember.
So,
I remember.
I mean, that's got to be worth something in the negative column.
You know, it's funny, too.
They caught Ottawa on the one night you didn't want to catch them.
Well, it's funny because, you know, that game happens, right? That game happens, and there were people out there that were like, oh, maybe Ottawa's, like, not that, because, you know, everyone thinks the Leafs is, like, are amazing. So everyone's like, oh, wow, maybe Ottawa's going to be, like, better. And then Ottawa played someone else. And it was over real quick.
Yeah, I feel for the Senators right now because, you know, they got all these young guys and they brought in all these older players in, and there's no training camp there, and they just look lost right now, and the goaltending hasn't been very good. Even when they seem like they're in games, they're just not getting any saves. So, you know, for the Ottawa Senators, we will see how things unfold from there. But for the top 5 teams, I mean, there's a lot to like, and I'm with you, Johnny. Vegas would be, they're like probably 6 for me right now, and there's some other teams in the mix as well. But I really like Montreal off the top. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but I just, their team all the way through right now, really strong.
Yeah, they're an it team right now. I feel like last night especially, I noticed on Twitter, everyone was singing the praises of the Montreal Canadiens because they have been so good, you can't ignore them anymore. So they are definitely on everyone's radar.